Right, you're watching TVC Breakfast. Let's get to our next discussion now. Since his return into the country, Nigeria's president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu has continued to play host to various political leaders. During such visits, he never forgets to assure Nigerians of his commitment to deliver good governance by making sure that the average Nigerian gets to experience a working government. He says the promise of renewed hope he made Nigerians during his campaign is one he intends to fulfill. And that is what we'll be talking about next. Joining us now is broadcast journalist Taiwo Olakbade. It's nice to have you join us in the studio.
Nice to be here.
Great. And we also have foremost documentary photographer, Dayo Adedayo. It's nice to have you join us here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Great. All right, let me start with you, Taiwo. When we have talked about and seen the renewed hope that has become the slogan or the title of the manifesto of Tinubu's presidency that is coming in. But make us understand, what will the renewed hope mean to an average Nigerian? Let's start from there.
Well, for me, renewed hope means a lot. And I'll start by saying that we know the outgoing president, President Muhammadu Buhari, he has tried his best. His best, however, may not be sufficient to some Nigerians. We can all see the record is staring us in the faces. And Asiwaju coming up with renewed hope, he knows what exactly is wrong and is quite aware of the enormous challenges that his government is going to face. So he has no alternative than to hit the ground running from day one. And that's what he has assured us that he's going to do. Of course, we cannot also isolate him from the current administration because he's also a member of the ruling party, APC. He contested on the platform of the party and won the February 25th presidential election. So he's also one of them. But being one of them is also not being in the saddle. Now he's going to take the mantle of leadership. And I vividly recollect that on the day the declaration of result was made by INEC, when he was making his acceptance speech, he said categorically that he's going to be so much committed to that renewed hope. You know, Nigerians, they say talk is cheap. We are very good at saying things, but do we eventually match our words with action? So we will wait to see that, you know, from Asiwaju government. But I'm very optimistic by his antecedents that he's going to deliver on the promises made to Nigerians. Because that same day, he was emphatic about education, and he said there will be an end to ASU strike in the country. Remember, I said one thing is to say something, another is to put it into action. So we want to see a government, maybe in the next 4 years, where we will have a normal academic calendar, you know, running in our tertiary institution. He also said during that acceptance speech that he's aware of this JAPA syndrome that is going to become Japada. You know, he said it categorically that he's aware, and we know that we're also battling.
Japada means going and coming back.
No. That those who have Japa
will
return back to the country. So,
okay.
And that's one of the reasons why we have this challenge with our health sector, because by world standard, we know how many doctors that supposed to, you know, administer drugs or even attend to patients, you know, by ratio, but that ratio is like is widely beyond us, and is a big challenge to us now that you know we have witnessed, you know, a high level of our doctors, trained doctors, you know, and quite unfortunate that even most of the wealthy Nigerians, by the time they travel abroad for medical tourism, it's the same Nigerian doctors that attend to them, you know, overseas. So why has it been so difficult for us to develop our health sector? So Asiwaju also said categorically that primary health care sector will be a cardinal focus of his administration, because most of the ailments or challenges that people take to the tertiary, which is the general hospital, are things that ordinarily are supposed to be taken care of at the primary health care sector level. But because we don't have it good, we don't have it nice, people rush to general hospital for ordinary malaria, headache, and all these little. So he also gave us that assurance that he will accord priority to the health sector, and I want to take him for his word. I'm optimistic.
All right. We'll come back to dwell on especially the education that you mentioned earlier, because there are so many areas in that education that I'd like us to bring out, especially when he made a statement that there will be no more strikes.
Yes.
We'll talk about this. Now, Dayo, let's talk about where to start from. Where we are right now, we're aware of the seeming division amongst Nigerians from the last election. And one would say that there has to be national healing. And Asiwaju has mentioned that several times as to the need for Nigeria to come together, the unification of Nigeria. Talk to us how challenging or easy it will be to heal Nigeria first as he takes the steps into government.
Once again, thank you for having me on your show. Okay. I'm very happy to see President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because I have to cease calling him Asiwaju now.
The level has changed.
Yes, things have changed from being Asiwaju or Jagaban to President-elect. Exactly. And by the grace of the Almighty, May 29 is going to become the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, reconciliation renewed up. I think he is the most prepared president in the history of Nigeria, 62 years of our independence.
Well, how is that?
Renewed up,
okay.
I think, because I wasn't part of the campaign committee or the people who managed the election process. I believe is part of the Hope 93 of MKO Abiola. So that was why I think it's renewed up. And why is he the most prepared president since 1960? This is the first time in the history of Nigeria after independence that will be having someone from the corporate world as against civil servants that has been our head of state. So one, straight to your question, because he has been in the field for over 30 years, since 92, from the SDP days, he has a network of people across the country. And he knows virtually everybody. He knows the players. He knows those who needs to talk to, those that would need not to talk to. And he has a knack for negotiation. And if you look at this last election, it was like going to a war. And he did what no one did in this last election. Because if you look from the primaries, he fought the primary PDP, even though Governor Wike, His Excellency Governor Wike, was trying to be the candidate or trying to be a deputy or a vice. And Atiku, if you look at the primaries of the PDP, it wasn't as so tough like that of the APC. And he fought the presidency, he fought the party structure, and he fought his way up to win the primaries. And immediately after the primaries, he started going out again to reconcile the party members. So coming in terms of reconciliation, personally, I believe he should go all the way out, because the last election was fought on religion and politics. And we need to be very, very careful. I mean, we see what is happening in Sudan now. Yeah. All it needs is just one little thing and everything will go down the drain. And we need, I'm sure he's talking to the people that he needs to talk to. The first thing I would want him to do is the National Assembly election. He can't leave everything to chance to say, I'm the president, I don't want to get involved. And being a politician himself, I'm 100% sure he's going to get involved in it. The president of the Senate is coming to the south. So it's going to be between the south and the Southeast.
There are still some people who say it should be given to where the chunk of the votes came from. We have heard those voices here and there.
Yeah, the bulk of the vote came from the Northwest. We have the Vice President from the Northeast. But to balance things, because at times, even in the House, you have to play politics. Not everything is 1+1. And most especially in politics, 1+1 in politics, it doesn't give you 2. So in terms of pacifying and to make things calm down in the country, I think my personal opinion is it should come to the South. And unfortunately for my brothers in the Southeast, they still haven't learned how to play politics.
Why would you say that?
They put all their eggs in one basket. And if you look at the past administration, from 1999 up until 2015, the Southeast voted en masse for the PDP. But I want someone to state 5 things that they gained in those 16 years. That's number one. Now, a time for reconciliation came in 2015 when President Buhari came in. What did we now get? Dead is a clone of the president that is governing us. And nobody talks about APC, and it was just lambasting of President Buhari. Instead of playing, I mean, you could see the governor of Ebonyi State, His Excellency Governor Umahi, the way he played. And then you have another governor came in Imo State, and they were His Excellency Uzodimma, and they were just calling him Supreme Court governor, forgetting that Bayelsa, a day before inauguration, the Supreme Court changed the election of the governor of Bayelsa State. Nobody talked about Supreme Court governor. Now we had the national election in February, and everything was put into Labour Party again. Unfortunately, you can't plant banana and get cassava.
Yeah, but don't they
So
have...
I think you should go to the South-South.
Yeah, but the point there is that we have seen where political parties have their strongholds in different places. If your political party doesn't win, but you feel this is the political party you want to stick to or stick with, as the case may be, don't they have the right to do that?
Fair enough. That is the way to go,
okay,
right? But then you don't come up again to say you want to get, you are not part of the people that labored for this.
Okay.
So you can't come out to say, oh, we must have this. No, it's not done that way. So that is my beef with the Southeast. So if I'm to vote, if I'm to be in the Senate, I'd rather go for the South-South, because the South-South really supported APC. So that would teach the Southeast a lesson on how to play national politics. You know, because there is no region in Nigeria, there is no zone in Nigeria that could become the national leader of the country without negotiation. You just have to, I mean, look at the Southwest. The Southwest has always been in opposition since 1958 election up until 2015, when they voted for the, when they joined the North to form a national government. Since 1958 election, the South-South and the Southeast have always been supporting the North. And all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. But for me, it's a time for reconciliation. The South-South, the Southeast should be taken along. And the truth is, once we have peace, the economy will blossom.
Okay. Taiwo, let me come to you now. Since Asiwaju came back from 1 month leave on Monday, there has been a beehive of activities at his residence in Abuja, where a lot of persons say that discussions are ongoing, very high-powered discussion, especially regarding the leadership of the National Assembly. Some said, of course, he's going to be the head of the executive, because when it comes to the principles of separation of powers, all the 3 arms of government are independent. But others have said, no, he has to be interested in who becomes the leader, Senate President and Speaker, you know, as the case may be, because those are the persons who are going to complement what he will do, or the other way around, as the case may be. Talk to us from that window. How challenging is it going to be when it comes to selecting the leadership of the National Assembly?
Well, for the renewed hope agenda of Asiwaju to come to pass, to be of, to return smiles, as he said, to the faces of Nigerians. We cannot underrate or underestimate the need for Asiwaju to also be interested in who becomes the leadership of the National Assembly. And I say this because we have had experience in 2015 when we had President Muhammad Buhari elected into office, and APC was in the majority, because there is a standing rule in the National Assembly that the party that has majority will also be opportune to also have the leadership, either be it the Senate President or the Speaker of the House of Representatives. But it became like a house divided against itself.
Yeah, that was in 2015.
In 2015,
okay.
It's like the first 4 years of President Buhari was like a cat and mouse, between him and the leadership of Bukola Saraki and the House of Rep Speaker Yakubu Dogara. They were from the same party. So, but coming to 2023 and looking ahead of the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, which is coming up by June 10th, I guess, Asiwaju, whether he likes it or not, he must be interested. We know there should be separation of power. That's the kind of the democracy that we practice. The executive, the legislative arm of government, the judiciary, and our own constituency, the fourth estate of the realm, the media. We have seen some, since the return of the president-elect back to the country. We saw yesterday on tape Bara Jibril, the senator from Kano, is a high-ranked senator. We also saw Senator Godswill Akpabio, Akwa Ibom, APC. They went to Asiwaju to pay homage. And you know what will also happen behind the scene. We only saw on camera that they met with Asiwaju, but I'm sure the camera will not also picture. By the time they're also meeting behind closed door, discussing how the leadership of the National Assembly will come to pass. We also have Senator Yuzo Kalu. He's also a former governor of, two-term governor of Abia State. Is also in the race. We have a first-time senator, Dave Humai, two-time governor of Ebonyi State, also coming into the race. And we can also not forget the incumbent Senate President, Ahmed Lawal. We hear that he's also trying to also,
We're also hearing that first-time senator from Edo State, Adams
Oshiomhole, former national chairman of
former
APC.
national chairman.
So there is intense lobbying now at the moment, and whether you like it or not, whoever Asiwaju decide to support, quote and unquote, or the leadership of APC will eventually emerge, and there's a need for them to also be very careful. They must be unison in deciding who will become the Senate President in particular. And again, we can also overrule or underestimate the need for us to also ensure balancing in this regard, because we have the president-elect coming from the southwest. We have the vice president-elect from the northwest, northeast, I guess. And both of them are also Muslims.
And the CJN.
And the CJN,
the Chief Justice of Nigeria.
Ariwola is also, So for equity and fairness, I think the Senate President, but the onus lies on the party leadership, and for them to also decide. It will have been better for fairness and equity for us to have the Senate President.
So what do you make of those who are saying we delivered the highest number of votes that brought the government in play in the first place? So how do you compensate them?
Because that is loyalty.
Okay.
And in politics, loyalty should not even be 100%. If possible, 101% loyalty. And the Northeast gave Asiwaju the maximum votes.
Northwest.
The Northwest. And you now see a reason why when we had the Muslim ticket, people are saying, no. Why? It doesn't mean that the Northeast does not have a Christian who can also run the ticket, enjoy ticket with Asiwaju. But eventually, we saw the outcome of that election, and it was that joint ticket of Asiwaju and Shetima that gave them the winning votes. And you can also that brings to fore the need for them to also to also reward loyalty from the Northeast, but they will find a way. There are other, juicy positions.
So there are other ways to compensate those who have
given them the maximum vote to win the 2023 presidential election.
He talked about the issue of Muslim tickets. Yeah. Now, a lot of persons have expressed concern and fear initially, but now that we have it, is this an opportunity to begin to demystify some of the fears that Nigerians often have when we talk about, Muslim ticket, North, South, and so on? The first time we had that was in 1993 with MQ Abiola, and now we have it again. Does this help to demystify some of the fears that divide us?
What I would say is this. Personally, it's my personal opinion, and I don't want anybody to crucify me on national TV. I wish and I pray President-elect Ahmed Bola Tinubu, I'm trying not to put Asiwaju.
You want to get used to, you are trying to get used to.
Yes, so Mr. President could find a way where there will be total ban on government sponsoring people to Mecca and Jerusalem.
Wow.
Yes. The reason being is this. Why is that? We push too much emphasis on religion in this country. We'll have a meeting, Christian prayer first or Muslim prayer first, closing prayer and the rest of it. And we all know that what we are saying at the meeting is not up to scratch. I grew up in this country, and when we were young, Mr. Lakwade will confirm this, we do not see much of religion in our faces. I grew up in Idioro, Mushin. We don't have a burglary proof on our window.
That's true.
That's true. Now we have church building every few minutes away from each other. Are we better for it? So let's do something else, something we've never done before. Whether Muslim, Christian, let's downplay it. And the Muslim ticket you are talking about, the president-elect, for crying out loud, is married to a pastor. They sleep on the same bed. They see each other every second when they are together. Does it make them to be different? You fly a plane, you don't know whether the pilot is Christian, is Muslim, is gay, is straight. All you want to do is to get to your destination. And like I said earlier on, this is the first time ever since our history, since 1958, that we'll be having someone at the helm of affairs of this country that will come from the corporate world. The way they see things are results. Is Naira becoming 100 Naira or 1-to-1 to the dollar? Are people producing? That is what we want to see. And I could see an Asiwaju bringing that to the fore. And not just that alone. One thing is key, which is our values. If we start today, it will take another 25 to 30 years for us to see the results. President-elect has to go back to the basis. And what is that? It's education. Primary and functional primary and secondary education. We don't need the universities. Universities is just there to produce the managers. Now, virtually everybody is having a degree. A degree to do what? But if we can come out with sound secondary education, we need the technicians, we need the plumbers, we need the bricklayers, we need the factory hands. If you travel on our roads, what you see are religious places. What I want to see are factories, farms, all over the place. All of us on this table now, we are wearing 100% foreign goods. 200 million people. Just imagine yourself, all you produce is just buttons. You become whatever you want to become. All you want to do, just produce a tie or the thread. 200 million people, we are all crying, wants to jackpot to a cedar country. If they haven't got it right,
Where would
you
go?
go to? I mean, look at what is happening in Sudan now. Anybody that comes here, they didn't come here to develop you. Any foreign national that comes into this country, they are coming into the country to make money and live, because there is nowhere like home. Should anything happen in Nigeria today, it's we Nigerians that will suffer for it. I personally, Dayo, I have no other country but Nigeria. And the last thing I want is to make sure that this country functions very well. And I believe strongly, President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to make a difference. We have seen it done before in Lagos State. And in terms of national cohesion, up to tomorrow, Lagos is still the place to be. And if you can do it in a small enclave with little money, because the money wasn't there when it came in, I'm sure at the national level, he will be able to do so much. And thank God, he's been saying it, that people will start to japada. And I believe so much in him, because Yoruba people will say, which literally means that the person that is going to clothe you, you look at what the person is wearing.
Okay.
In terms of human capital development, you can't fault him. In terms of economy, I mean, if you look at the economy of Lagos, you can't fault him either. So at the national level, where he has all the powers to do and undo, and what is he looking for? Is he looking for money to buy food or to buy a car? Yeah, it's sunset for him.
He already has all those.
It's sunset for him. And I believe strongly what he wanted to do is just a legacy, because some presidents or former presidents will be in the footnote of history of Nigeria. We all talk of JFK. We all talk of Jefferson. I mean, Washington and the rest of it.
Lincoln.
I'm Lincoln. So in my own personal opinion, I'm thinking that is all he's looking for. That in another 500, 1,000 years, people will still remember there was a president called President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who came to this country when we are at our lowest step. Because as it is today, Nigeria is at its lowest step. Through refineries, none of them functioning. Unbelievable. So how are we going to do this? One way or the other is going to find a way around it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Now, one thing in his manifesto that he mentioned is the issue of removal of subsidy. And the removal of subsidy was re-echoed by all the presidential candidates of all the various political parties, telling us that I think maybe we have come to that point where Nigeria is now ripe to have oil subsidy removed. But there is an issue. And the issue there are the unions within the oil sector who feel that, well, before you remove the subsidy, there has to be some fundamental issues. One, that refineries must work. For the refineries to work, it's going to take some time, because a lot of them are in a state that will require months to put them together before they begin to function. Number two, the issue of supply of crude to them constantly to keep them working is another issue altogether. Now, speak to us from that window how easy and how challenging it's going to be to have the oil subsidy removed.
Removal of subsidy, it was like a unique selling point for most of the presidential candidates during that electionary campaign. So I will remove subsidy. I will now invest the money from subsidy removal into education, health, economy, agriculture, and the likes. But as they used to say, talk is cheap. But Asiwaju, the president-elect, he was categorical. And he said, we are going to remove subsidy. But the fundamental question that we need to ask, and which the labor union, the NLC, the NUPENG are saying is, you can't just remove subsidy without having a refinery working. The question to ask is, the money voted for turnaround maintenance since 1999 that will return to democratic rule in the country. Have they gone the drain? Should we say all this money have gone the drain? Because we have never seen all these refineries, even up to 30% or 40%, capacity. And every other year, we vote billions of naira on turnaround maintenance? Somebody needs to answer that question. All those money for turnaround maintenance.
Are you suggesting a probe?
Yeah.
Of all of that?
Of course.
But to what aim or objective now, when we're supposed to be looking forward? Because the time to go into a probe is going to eat up another time that he's supposed to be making gains.
Well, the bottom line is it could sound so difficult to do, because Nigerians still believe that, I think subsidy is what they believe that they're also gaining from government. That's the only thing that government is subsidizing at the moment. And by removing it, it has not even been removed. We know how much, we know what we witnessed, what we experienced in the last few months, that when we had the scarcity, we see the black markets booming, thriving, and we are buying fuel at up to about 300 naira per liter, 350 naira per liter. Now imagine when the almighty subsidy, as they used to call it, is removed. That means the fuel is likely to go up to around about 700, 600, 650 naira per liter.
That's what some of the unions are saying.
How are we going to cope? Yeah. So it may become a challenge for the president-elect, in the sense that we don't want to see a protest or a strike, to be a welcome party for this government. Because I know Labour, under the new president, Joe Ajaero, is a man of no nonsense. And if you say anything, he will surely follow it to a logical conclusion. So I want to see a kind of a collaboration between the president-elect and the Labour, so that he can as well explain in detail his plan for this removal.
Recall that the federal government has secured about $800 million to cushion the effect.
And people have asked
removal.
that question, that instead of sharing money to Nigerians, why don't you use that same money to fix our refinery? Sharing money, how long will that last us?
No, I have
instead of giving us food, why don't you teach us how to feed?
Okay.
Instead of giving us money, how many? Okay, they said about 10 million households altogether, maybe going to about 50 million Nigerians. We are well over 200. Yeah. How do you also determine who benefits? How do you determine the poorest of the poor? How do you determine? I also need that money.
Okay.
So will you ever get to me?
All right.
I've never benefited.
I guess we all need that money somehow.
We all need that money. Will it get to you?
All right. Let's hear Dayo say something about this.
Yes. For me, we've been playing the same game all this while. People are hungry. People can't do this. They can't buy fuel at 10 billion naira per liter or whatever. Are we getting the desired result? The answer is no. Because subsidy is just helping people like me who can afford more than one car. You see, I will go the Margaret Thatcher way. 100% removal. I mean, diesel is over 800 naira.
Exactly.
Is anybody complaining? The answer is no. You see, until you can't treat cancer with Panadol or Fensic or Alabukun. One, we are just wasting money by subsidizing consumption. The trillions of naira they are spending on fuel, if they are spending it on education, this country will be better for it. Just education alone. Why? Because an educated mind will know whom to vote for. An educated mind will know what to eat. An educated man will not go to the hospital frequently. You see, so at the end of the day, education is the foundation of everything. Take out the subsidy, challenges will come. As we are having challenges, opportunities will come for people to invest in the refinery. Sell the refinery up, because it's not anything that belongs to government never works. I want you to name one that works. The most money government is getting from all their quoted companies is from NLNG. If federal government, if NLNG is owned 100% by the federal government of Nigeria, that company would have been in ruins today. Because anything government belongs to nobody. It belongs to everybody and belongs to nobody.
And nobody understands the direction of
so
things.
For me, take out subsidy, 100%, so you have money. The most important thing is to now fight corruption. And corruption is not by saying ICPC, FCC. That's another government bureaucracy. Corruption is taxman Abroad, you don't see anybody harassing you. You do something different, it's taxman that will come after you. How much have you paid in tax? How could you afford this? I'm not a finance person. I'm a photographer, but, you know, the way we see things are different. But if FIRS, I mean, look at what he did in Lagos. People can now hide the income of Lagos State. Why? Because all he did was to put in LRS into place. And after LRS come into place, more people are coming into the tax net. It's only people who are doing 9 to 5 that are paying tax in Nigeria. And unfortunately, I'm on a media platform. I'm going to knock our media as well, because they are not doing enough. The richest are paying less. You will be shocked that what you are paying in tax with your little income is far higher than the guy that you look up to as a rich man. You know, so it's FIRS and the state tax boards that need to be strengthened, because we are not paying enough tax in the country.
There's a lot of tax evasion.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, you see people selling groundnut by the roadside. How much do they pay? 0. Meanwhile, they will dirty the place. Who's going to clean it?
Exactly.
It's your tax that you are paying, and the little tax that I pay as well, that they will use in cleaning up the place. The drains will be blocked. People are shouting, no hospital, no school. Where will the money come from? Nobody's invested in the Nigerian oil industry anymore. But having said that, we have entertainment, which I hope and pray President-elect President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu will look into something that is the largest employer of labor anywhere in the world.
It's a gold mine.
Which is tourism. I pray President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when he comes in, we go to Taraba, to the Mambila Plateau, the most beautiful place in Nigeria, to set up a presidential camp. When he's going on holiday, he doesn't leave the shores of Nigeria. The only person that have done that successfully was former President Aremu Olusegun Obasanjo. He goes to Obudu to spend his holiday. I pray President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu will either go to Obudu or Mambila or go to the Sherry Hills in Jos to set up a camp where they can have retreats, conferences, and draw other people from other parts of the world to come into the country. With tourism blossoming in Nigeria, 200 million people, the blacks in diaspora are tired of being in diaspora, but they don't have any black nation to go to. If Nigeria works today, we could become the 5th largest economy in the world in less than 10 years.
That's amazing. You gave us a glimpse of what the Mambila Plateau in some of your very iconic pictures you've taken, and we hope that that works. I believe that. Okay, President-elect, not actually. You will take us some time to get used to it.
Absolutely.
You know, that I will just in a minute. Talk to us from the point of agriculture, just in a few minutes. You recall that Nigeria, in fact, Nigeria DNA is in our agriculture is in our DNA, where even our flag has the green, white, green, which represents agriculture. And when Nigeria was at the peak of the glory of Nigeria, agriculture was the mainstay of the country at the time. Speak to us on how to go back to those days. Asiwaju also mentioned all of those things in his manifesto.
Okay, thank you so much. The Renewed Hope Agenda 2023 of Asiwaju, the 73-page documents, it started with national security, economy, agriculture, health, education, and the rest, just like that. And coming back to speak to agriculture, we all know that it should be a priority to every government, either at the sub-national level, at national level, or even at the local government level, that necessary attention must be paid to agriculture. Because, number one, we know we are also a consuming nation. And whether you like it or not, people must put something in their stomach. We have seen somebody who talk about stomach infrastructure. We can't just wave it aside. agriculture is one way where if incoming government heavily invest in that sector, of course, it may take a shine and take a lead from over-dependent on oil as our mainstay of the economy of the country.
All right. We're happy that President-elect Bola Tinubu has mentioned that several times, and he talked about the issue of commodity boards and bringing all of those things back.
Mechanized farming.
And so on. Well, we look forward to all of that. Thank you so much, Taiwo Olakbade, for coming on the program.
Thank you so much.
And Dayo Adedayo, thank you very much for your time and your insight.
Thank you, sir.
Really amazing. Thank you.